So Marvel Zombies is an awesome adult animated miniseries based on the incredibly popular comic book series, and this particular series is following the events of the absolutely incredible What If Zombies episode from What If Season 1. And it's 4 episodes long, and it would have actually been an animated movie, but they chose to make it a miniseries mainly down to the Spider-Man rights, as Marvel Studios only have the rights for Spider-Man without any involvement of Sony in 30-minute animation form, which is of course why they've created their own Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man series, and also why they made Marvel Zombies a 30-minute episode miniseries. Now, speaking of Marvel animation, they really have been firing on all cylinders lately, as Marvel Zombies joins the brilliant X-Men 97, which honestly was a pretty flawless series, as well as Eyes of Wakanda, which is so underrated. And I feel like those 3 properties are a lot stronger than some of their other releases. For example, like we spoke about before, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And even though season 1 of What If was absolutely awesome, I feel like season 2 and season 3 kind of lost their way. But even still, I feel like those 3 seasons of television are actually pretty awesome in their own right too. Now, coming back to Marvel Zombies, I loved how every single one of the 4 episodes kind of had their own focus, and we will be talking about all 4 of them in a minute, but I also loved how they were building the wider narrative, leading to the massive zombie apocalypse in the final few moments of episode 4. And speaking of that final, they actually ended it like how all zombie apocalypses seem to be, well, not technically all of them, but the majority of them, in terms of ending on a bit of a sour, sad note. Now, Brad Winderbaum has said that season 2 could actually happen, so we will potentially get a bit of a continuation from this storyline, as they truly do end it on a massive cliffhanger. So let's break down that ending. So Wanda / the Queen of the Dead / the Red Queen seems to have won by defeating all of the heroes, and is able to absorb all of Infinity Hulk's powers, despite him truly, as well as all of the other heroes of course, putting up a real fight, and then places what seems to be the last Avenger human alive, of course Iman Vellani's Kamala Khan, into her own version of the Westview reality hex. And in this reality, everything has gone back to normal, but she is flickering between the real reality, where it seems as if Riri Williams has actually survived, where you thought that she was defeated by all of the zombies in episode 1, and is trying to tell Kamala Khan that actually the zombie apocalypse reality is the real one. Now, there are loads of other potential heroes that we could see in season 2. For example, we could see the X-Men, we could see the Fantastic Four, we could also see more intergalactic characters like the Guardians of the Galaxy, as well as the Defenders, and also some of the Eternals, because so far we've only seen Icarus. I really like the idea of bringing the intergalactic characters into the mix, as maybe Wanda is able to confuse all of the Nova Corps in terms of thinking that somehow there was a cure for the zombies and that the Earth is now finally back to normal, so they can stop quarantining it. And I think this could be absolutely brilliant. And if you're wondering what happens to the Marvel Zombies realities in the comic books, then actually the Watchers do kind of do their own quarantine in terms of setting them apart from everybody else. So I loved it how every single episode of Marvel Zombies was kind of having its own focus whilst also building the wider narrative. So let's talk about each one. So I loved how in the first episode you're introduced to the trio, which is Kamala Khan, Kate Bishop, and of course Riri Williams, who have all incidentally had their own dedicated Disney Plus TV shows, and they are the last survivors in their own little fraction, and they are trying to team up with the Black Widow survivors, and as a group they are of course against all of Wanda Maximoff's zombie army. And I absolutely loved Blade Knight, easily one of the best new variants that Marvel Studios have created in a very long time. In the next episode we see a new introduction of Shang-Chi and Katie, and this time they are sharing the 10 rings between the two of them. And I absolutely loved it how they get on board Baron Zemo's ship. By the way, loved his partnership with Wyatt Russell's US agent, and you just know something is shifty with these guys, as everything seems a little bit too good to be true, and then he truly does stab all of the Avengers in the back in terms of willingly sacrificing them in order to preserve him and his team against Namor and all of the wider Talokans. In the third episode we get reunited with Spider-Man, Ant-Man, and of course Black Panther, following the end of the episode where we last saw them in What If Zombies in season 1, and how they were able to defeat Thanos as he was almost going to complete his Infinity Gauntlet. And this time the new group are trying to get into New Asgard, and everything over there similarly lead to the Zemo scenario seems all too good to be true, but then you see that Wanda Maximoff is able to turn all of the Asgardians into zombies. And I thought the ending of that episode and the way they picked it up in the next episode was absolute magic, as they were destroying all hope, as thus far you are thinking that as long as Kamala Khan is able to get her message to the Nova Corps, then everything will be alright. But the twist was that actually the Nova Corps have no interest in helping them and instead just want to destroy the Earth by quarantining it. And then when they somehow survive that, they are then having to fight Wanda Maximoff and her mega zombie army. And it truly does feel like it's going to be impossible, and I just thought it was so shocking how she then puts Kamala Khan in her own Westview hex, except this time she is under the illusion that everything is alright. So let's break down all of the characters now. So I feel like Iman Vellani truly is the main character as Kamala Khan, and she did a really good job actually. I feel like the Ms. Marvel TV show could have been so much stronger, but I feel like over here the character is pretty endearing, and Thor also makes her the new leader of the Avengers. And you always do feel it when she feels so heartbroken when all of her friends are passing away into zombie form, as well as the fact that your heart is breaking with her when she realizes that her ambition that she has pushed everyone towards in terms of getting to the Nova Corps wasn't going to be there happily ever after that they were under the illusion of. The next main character I guess would be Simu Liu's Shang-Chi. He was really wicked. I loved all of his interactions, and I love the fact that they used the 10 rings to stop him turning into a zombie. And also I feel like him and Katie sharing the 10 rings was actually pretty brilliant. Like I said before, Blade Knight has got to be one of the best variants that they've created in such a long time, and I feel like out of all of the characters, his likeness really does resemble Mahershala Ali. And apparently originally it was going to be pure Blade in this series, but because of all of the issues in terms of the Blade movie not coming into fruition yet, they changed it into Blade Knight. And I loved all of his interactions with Khonshu, and I just feel like he was able to continue that mantle from the equally brilliant Moon Knight series really well. Wanda truly was the unstoppable big bad, and I loved the fact that even though she is in zombie form, she is able to use her reality warping powers in terms of also giving the illusion that she is a human just like everybody else. Loved Riri Williams, loved Kate Bishop, loved the fact that we also had a bit of a trio with Kamala Khan. All three of them have had their own Disney Plus TV shows, and I feel like their friendship just felt so effortless. Yelena was really cool as well. It was really sad when she was making the sacrifice, and of course Red Guardian's heart is bleeding. They did have plans to give Black Panther a bigger role, but of course after Chadwick Boseman's tragic passing, they chose to give him an honorary death. And of course we had Hudson Thames, who brilliantly voiced Spider-Man in the What If series, as well as the Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man series, and I just love anything with Spider-Man in it, and they were able to bring this character really easily into the wider Marvel world. So overall I absolutely loved Marvel Zombies. It truly did feel like a DC original animated movie. They were absolutely extraordinary back in the day, and I absolutely loved it how back in What If season 1 days everybody loved the What If Zombies episode, and they were able to pick up and continue on from it. Super adrenaline fueled, and it was just such a fun series just to binge in one go. And Brad Winderbaum has said that season 2 is likely to happen if season 1 has done well, and because of the fact that it was all over social media and that the viewing ratings have been really decent as well. And so I'm very sure that we will be seeing a continuation one day in season 2. But as far as Marvel Zombies, the current miniseries is concerned, I had so much fun with it, and so I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear from you. What did you think of Marvel Zombies? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.